Hello, my name is Ruchi NP Singh, and in this video, I'm going to take you through the persuasive appeal of logos. So I'm quickly going to share my screen. So logos in your IBDP English, a language and literature course, plays a very, very important role. It's a very strong persuasive appeal that you must be able to identify and use when you're writing something. So picture this. You're in a heated debate, trying to make your point and get your message across. But what if there was a way to supercharge your arguments with this little thing called logos? This magical world of fact-based reasoning and solid data can take your communication skills to the next level, making you a master debater and an academic superstar. Plus, it's totally in line with the core values of the IB program. So let's dive into this wonderful world of logos and discover how it can transform you into a persuasive powerhouse. So logos is a rhetoric device. It uses logic, reasoning, and factual evidence to support an argument or to persuade an audience. The strength of logos lies in its ability to provide rational and logical foundation, which fosters credibility and trust in the audience. It appeals to the intellect and analytical thinking. Also, logos appeal can effectively counter emotional biases, which is very important, and subjective opinions by presenting a well-structured argument and an objective evidence. Remember, an emotional bias has the power to color your thought process in some manner. So some examples of logos are scientific research. It's fundamentally grounded in logos. It relies on empirical data, statistical analysis, and logical reasoning to draw conclusions. And of course, legal arguments. In the court, attorneys use logos extensively when they're presenting evidence, citing precedents, or constructing logical arguments to persuade the jury. So, when we look at logos as an appeal, logos in a persuasive discourse relies on constructing a robust, evidence-based argument. So this video aims to explore the fundamental elements necessary to achieve a compelling logos appeal. Emphasis on the central claim, logical structure, and evidence-based reasoning. So the first thing that you must do is establish a central claim. Define it. Identify and clearly articulate the central claim or your thesis statement, which serves as a focal point around which your entire argument revolves. It ensures precision. Then craft a precise and well-defined central claim to avoid ambiguity and potential confusion amongst your audience. Next, maintain a logical flow. Construct a logical argument. So what's a logical flow? It occurs when you ensure that the argument follows a logical sequence of ideas where each point connects seamlessly to the next. Next, have reasonable statements. Base your arguments on reasonable statements and premises. And these premises should be grounded in factual information, empirical evidence, or accepted principles. And the third most important thing is to avoid logical fallacies. Identify and eliminate logical fallacies like ad hominem attacks, strawman arguments, and false dichotomies, which can weaken an argument's credibility. And if you're identifying, look out for these. Let me give you an example now. Read the statement. Numerous financial studies and historical data have consistently shown that over the long term, investments in diversified portfolio of stocks tend to outperform investments in gold. The annualized return on stocks has averaged around 7% over the past century, while the price of gold has been relatively stable, yielding a lower return on investment. When you read this statement, it gives you a logical argument backed by data and historical trends, making a clear and evidence-based case against gold being a superior long-term investment. This is how Logos works. Let's look at another example. Everyone knows that education is essential for personal and societal growth. When individuals are well educated, they can contribute to a prosperous society, which in turn can provide better educational opportunities for future generations. This ongoing cycle of education and progress is a cornerstone of societal development. When you read this, it forms a logical argument by establishing the initial premise that education is vital and then shows how it perpetuates a cycle of progress and further education in society. The next most important thing you have to remember is you need to have a sequential development. Create your thesis statement. Let's come back to this example which says, while many people believe that education is an unbeatable investment due to its potential for higher earnings and personal growth, the effectiveness of educational investments can vary significantly based on several key factors, including the field of study, cost, and evolving labor market demands. Now, what have you done here? You've looked at the variability in earning, and you can substantiate by data like, according to data from the US Bureau of Labor Stats, individuals with a bachelor's degree earned on an average 63% more than those with only a high school diploma in 2020. However, it's crucial to note that the earning potential varies across fields. For example, the Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce has shown that a median earning for STEM graduates are significantly higher than those in fields like education or the arts. So when you add data like this, you make your persuasion more stronger. Next, when you're trying to imply logos, you can look at the cost of education. The College Board's annual Trends in College Pricing report demonstrates substantial variations in tuition costs across different states and institutions. It reveals that tuition and fee can be a significant financial burden, potentially affecting the overall return on investment for education. Evolving labor market trends. The World Economic Forum's Future of Job reports highlights the rapid changes in labor market demands, with emerging fields like artificial intelligence and data science experiencing a high growth. In contrast, traditional industries might offer few financial prospects, emphasizing the importance of aligning education with current and future market needs. Furthermore, you could substantiate on the point of student loan debt to make your persuasion more effective. The Federal Reserve's report on economic well-being of the US households has consistently shown the increasing burden of student loan debt on individuals. As of 2020, it reported that 44.7 million Americans collectively owe over $1.6 trillion in student and loan debt, affecting their financial stability and investment opportunities. So you must see that this is how logos helps to make your persuasion more stronger. I also want you to look at the importance of establishing reasonable connections between evidence and claim. Credibility and effectiveness. The credibility and effectiveness of any persuasive argument are closely linked to the strength of the connections forged between evidence and claims. Then you must need clarity and coherence. Strong connections ensure clarity and coherence in your argument, making it easier for your audience to follow your line of reasoning. Then support and conviction. These connections provide a vital support for your claims, instilling conviction in your audience, which is essential for persuasiveness. Of course, credibility and engagement. Remember, well-structured arguments with strong connections enhance your credibility as a communicator. Moreover, they engage your audience more effectively, as logically sound and well-supported arguments are not only persuasive, but they're also interesting and relatable. Then, some practical tips. For crafting compelling arguments, practical tips can be used like transition words, giving real-life examples, and analogies to illustrate connections, and considering and addressing potential counter-arguments to strengthen your overall argument. Let me go a little deeper into your practical tips for a good logos argument. First, gather reliable data and evidence. Start by collecting well-researched and credible data to support your claims. This could include statistics, studies, expert opinions, and historical facts. Ensure that the information you use is from an authoritative sources and it's up to date. Remember, as an IB student, it's very important for you to check the credibility of your sources. Ensure that the information is up to date. For example, if you're discussing an economic argument, then data from the government agencies or respected research institutions can be used. Make very clear and reasonable connections. Establish those connections between your evidence and your claim. Ensure that the evidence that you present directly supports the point that you're making. And very important, avoid logical fallacies and provide context to help your audience understand why this evidence is relevant. For example, if you're arguing that a new policy will have an economic impact, explain how the data that you've gathered demonstrates this connection. Then anticipate and address counter-arguments. Strong logos arguments acknowledge potential counter-arguments and they address them effectively. This shows how you've considered multiple perspectives and strengthens your position. Use data and reasoning to refute counter-arguments or to show how your arguments still stand strong despite potential objections. It can also be beneficial to show that you've thought critically about your stance. Remember, when you're looking at logos as a persuasive appeal, it's a very strong persuasion because as human beings, we are very easily persuaded. We look at numbers and we believe them. So when you're looking at logos, remember it's a very strong and effective persuasive appeal, and you must know how to identify it and how to use it in your arguments.